on my mind. Small days is a good time. Neighbor has some little children. I'm gonna sing it and that's really admire them. Small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. Neighbor has some little children. I'm gonna sing it and that's really admire them. Yes, they're singing. Ching, ching, ching. I see Paul Mama. With 10 fat chickens. And I ship one. And she won't give me one. You see that girl named Dorothy. She fat like a butter. And she muggle like a chow. Oh, small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. Never had some little children. I'm gonna sing it and that's really admire them. What they're singing? On your carpet, you must be like roses. All you need, bright and shining. You must be, and show me the one. Love the best. When I marry, I give you the ring. First the girls, second the boys. Sunday, Monday, afternoon. We will spend our honeymoon. Oh, small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. Neighbor has some little children. I'm gonna sing it and that's really admire them. Join the singing. Hold my house on fire. You'll not run away. He ran for the police to get the water. He only fire down the escalator. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Escalator, shoot, shoot, shoot. And I wipes the lady face. The lady wipes the lady face. And she fell down, and she fell down, and she fell in the ocean too. Oh, small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. Neighbor has some little children. I'm really singing and the dancers really admire them. Hear them singing? Children, children, really admire them. What they're singing? On your carpet, you must be like roses. All you need, bright and shining. You must be, and show me the one. Love the best. When I marry, I give you.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North.
Greetings to all of you, and of course, welcome to Straight Up. You recognize that I'm not Mark Benchtrop, and I'm always distinctly honored to know that I have the opportunity to sit here in a stead. I do not ever take this for granted. To those of you joining via 107.1 FM, I do welcome you as well. Those of you joining here via all social media platforms, thank you for being here. You would notice that Mr. Benchtrop is not here with us this evening. However, it is well, and every so often, he would have things to do that would not permit him to be here with us. So I've been asked to share this platform with Mr. Caesar, and it is certainly a distinct honor of mine. We are going to tonight have a very, very important discussion regarding matters here in our country, Guyana, and also the diaspora. With that said, I do welcome you, and I welcome myself. Mr. Caesar, it's good to have you here. Greetings.
It's a pleasure, Apostle Eliakim, to be here and to be sharing this platform with you. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. A pleasant good evening to everybody. Freedom fighters, let's rise up tonight. Let's rise up, share the link, like the program. As Apostle Eliakim would have said, we are going to have some serious discussions tonight in relation to Guyana. So let me just do a quick roll call. Godfrey Clark, good evening. Welcome to Straight Up. Hazel Johnson, Hollis Charles, Shondell Griffith, Don Smithlet, Secretary Rose, Teresa Sandyford, welcome. Miss Lachman Aziz, welcome to Straight Up tonight. Apostle Eliakim, over to you to kick things off. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you. And you see here we have on our screen, Guyana Teachers Union would have issued a response to what we all observe. I would like to say with much horror, Mr. Caesar, to know that we have sunk into such a place as a people, well, not we, but the PVP, where they can be this disrespectful to teachers just after we are in the midst of common entrance, the NGSA, National Grade 6 Assessment exam. In that atmosphere, more so with an ongoing issue where they're supposed to be appealing, as far as I'm aware, this matter about the ruling of Justice Symbolic soon. And here you have the teachers being mocked at the People's Progressive Party's Congress. For years, they didn't hold a Congress. When they decided to convene one, this is the best that they could have come up with in reference to our teachers. We talk about this tonight at length, among other issues, and also speaking to, in reference to an update, the elections that they had, that they claimed had at Congress, because the one guy needs to see how disrespectful these people are to us. But you are free to share your thoughts on these matters as we interact with those who are viewing and those who are joining us here. But this action, I am issuing a call, not just for teachers to respond to this. Parents should respond to this. Every Guyanese who has an iota, a modicum of self-respect should respond to this, not just by typing something somewhere, but being physically present with the teachers as they would take to the street, because this is the epitome, the zenith of dishonor. I have never, and you can tell me if you've seen it in your lifetime, Mr. Caesar, have you ever seen this happen to our teachers in the country? Where at the Congress, a political party makes a mockery, or any working force whatsoever, any sector of our society. Have you ever seen this happen? Where the PNC has the Congress and they made a mockery of nurses or doctors or Gaisuko King Cutter's workers, those in the sugar industry, the bauxite industry. Have you ever seen this? Because this, to me, in my lifetime, 50 years, I have never, ever had the experience of witnessing with the president, the man who's paid to be president. He's sitting right there. Barrett Jaggi and others at this Congress. The Minister of Education and these people are part of the whole clan. And look at what they presented to us. What are your thoughts on what we're seeing here?
Apostle, I must say, governance in Guyana under the PPPC is seen as an utter joke. And it's a total disrespect to the Guyanese people, first and foremost. But let's break it down here. Let's target the teachers here. Now, the teachers would have been out there on a strike for 29 straight days. Okay, they followed the protocols and the decisions of the court. They went back to the table with this installed regime. Okay, when it comes to negotiating with the PPPC, it is impossible to negotiate with these guys. It is impossible. There are many who are of the opinion that the teachers should have never stopped the strike, but they had to follow the orders of the court and try to go to the table back with the installed government to see if they can come up with a deal. After this regime would have failed to come up with a deal to provide proper wages and acceptable working conditions, amongst other things, for our educators in Guyana, who is responsible for educating everyone, then to go to their Congress and to make a complete mockery of our teachers across the board in Guyana. This was an extra double top on the pizza here. This is horrible, disgraceful.
Yes, thank you for me to interrupt you, because this is far-reaching. This is not, and I'm happy that you head in this direction, because we cannot take this as a people. This is not about GTU here. This is about what an administration is showing to the people of Guyana, that for as long as you are in opposition to what they stand for, as a collective body, as what they call the public sector. Mind you, they say that teaching is a noble profession. Can you imagine that the people you describe as being noble can be taken to such an extreme degree of being taken for granted, that they now become a part of role play on the stage at the PPP's Congress, and teachers and some of those, I think they were dressed like students. So this whole thing became a joke now, and they were seeking to inform us that there's nothing about the struggle to live in Guyana that should be taken seriously by the PPP. Because far they're concerned, their friends, their families, their cronies, their lackeys, and those who do the bidding of this administration, they don't have the issue the teachers face, apparently. But what is even worse is the fact that they held those placards. Look at what was written on them. I'm a teacher. Of course, my pay won't be able to do. Look at the disrespect. Look at the disrespect. No money, no work. And it's funny for them. Let us also take note of the fact that Barrett Jagdeo had said that Justice, and I could see why they made a mockery of this, because Barrett came out and said he's not vice president. There's nothing called a vice president in my book where Jagdeo is concerned, because you don't have that provision in the Constitution. Jagdeo said that Sunday Kisuna, justice in our legal system, was presumptuous. Can you imagine that, to speak about the president? So I don't know if you live in North Korea or Guyana. And Guyanese, as we gear ourselves up to take to the streets, this is not about teachers protesting here or teachers on strike here. This is about us as a people recognizing these people for who they are. Jagdeo said that the judge was presumptuous to speak against the president in the manner that he did. So who is Irfan Ali? Irfan Ali cannot read like the Justice Sunday Kisuna, if he can read at all. He's semi-literate. What respect does he deserve? Which university did he matriculate into and leave? Where did he graduate from to say that he's qualified to be on the same level as an intellectual as Justice Sunday Kisuna? And for me to live to see the day that this man here on your screen, Jagdeo, would say that a judge in our country must not be critical of the president, it tells us that we are directly in the middle of a dictatorship. I don't mind how they try to fix it. And you can chime in here, because I want us to zoom in on what Jagdeo said. This man criticized a judge because the judge spoke against the president. What country do you see that happening in? Dictatorial states. You're not allowed to criticize public figures. And this right here says he's not a dictator. So in the midst of all of this is what we have to deal with. You can go ahead, Dwayne.
But yet there are many who are trying, well, not many, but a few that are still trying to say that Guyana is a democracy. In fact, a representation democracy. I don't see it, Apostle. I do not see it. Barrett Jagdeo never wants to be challenged. And listen, my take on this is always that this is one man. Okay? And one man could never rule a nation. Okay? We have so much intellectuals, so many intelligent people in Guyana. And to sit down and hear Barrett Jagdeo dictate all the terms here, attacking a justice on our judiciary. Apostle is saying here, and what I'm reading here, is that there must be no checks and balances, because basically that is what Justice Kisuna is doing there.
Right.
He is seeing the law for what it is. He's not making up things as he go along here. He is issuing his decisions based on law. So there is nothing wrong with what he's doing.
But look what they try to say. They try to suggest that Jagdeo and Anil tried it, to say that the judge, to say that no work, no pay really should not be taken as for what it is. The judge is setting a terrible precedent. That's what Jagdeo is trying to establish, that, you know, if somebody doesn't go to work, then it shouldn't be paid. What the dishonest Jagdeo is not saying, and Nandalal, is that the judge is absolutely correct. The GTU, and I said this before many instances, the GTU made an effort to speak to their employer. So not just no work, no pay. They went to say, we want to have a discussion about the conditions under which we work. And the employer refused to engage them in collective bargaining, which is an unlawful and an illegal act, an unconstitutional act. So when the teachers say, okay, then, since you don't want to talk to us, we're not going to work. That is not no work, no pay. Is that you refuse to engage us in a discussion that was beneficial to our well-being. You refuse to engage us in collective bargaining, which is illegal. And so the judge made a sensible decision, which is unlike Afanali's nature, to say, no, it doesn't work like that. If you want them to work, then talk to them about working conditions. And that is what is so potent about Justice Kissoon's ruling and hurt Jagdeo so badly. So he doesn't want to be challenged by Kissoon. So he said, you should never. It is presumptuous to speak against the president. Now, tell me, Mr. Caesar, tell me, and maybe I could call you when you call me Nigel, that's my name. But tell me, my brother, who in Guyana, honestly speaking, would have just a touch of respect for Afanali? Given what he showed us whenever he tries to dance in this kind of nonsense. Who should respect this man? When we said, listen, show us your qualifications. At least you should be smarter than most of us if you want to lead us. He failed to do that. Who in this country must respect a man who faced 19 fraud charges? Who should respect a man who, when the sheikh came, he dressed like a sheikh? When he went to the Buckingham Palace, he claimed to go to the wedding. Do you see how he was dressed? Like a complete circus clown to represent me as a person. And I have an issue with these things. And please forgive my passion. I really can't hold it back because I'm livid tonight. What I saw the PPP do to our teachers, I am smoking from the ears. Because this right here is and then we talk about the election with Dharam Lal. Dharam Lal, in the Congress, we get to that, was voted number 6 for leadership in the PPP, ahead of Anil Nandalal. We have to talk about that. Because Anil would never accept that. And this, I don't, listen, Anil's not my friend. But tonight is one night I will speak that I pass even for Anil. Frank Anthony is number 10. Kwame McCoy is ahead of Anil in the PPP now. You have to talk about this, but we'll get to that part. But look, tell me who would respect Afanali. Honestly speaking, who should?
Apostle, there's a few things. His credentials was requested. We've gotten nothing. The 19 fraud charges was just, thrown underneath the carpet by the DPP. Okay? Right, discontinued. We never had a full investigation. Okay? I look at the PPPC from a holistic perspective, the whole party. It's a group of gangsters that were installed to stoke fear into the Guyanese people so that everybody, all the external forces, can just walk into our country and take whatever they want, rip us off of all our resources. Apostle, we've seen this picture before. We have seen this with other countries where people just walk in and take what they want. They install a government that's going to control the people, keep the people oppressed and suppressed, and they just come in and do whatever they want. That is exactly what we are seeing here in Guyana. We are seeing nepotism at its best. And we're gonna speak about this more as you open up in relation to the PPPC Congress, because we've seen it there also. So
yeah, so the fact that they could disrespect teachers like this, they could move on to disrespect. There you go. This is Arthur Chung Convention Center, where the House of Assembly, our parliamentarians meet, our legislators meet at this facility. Again, you haven't seen the PNC, And people know that I'm not a PNC member supporter I don't support big people. I said it on any platform. You have to be 10 times stronger for me to support you. So I don't like the game these people are playing with us as Guyanese. But the truth is, the PNC has never held a Congress on the grounds of the House of Assembly, a Parliament building. Now they chose this side. They do not meet the Parliament building anymore. So they gather here for parliamentary meetings. And the people came here to put their flags. More so, when have we ever seen the PPP flag, PNC flag flying in the streets of Georgetown when they have Congress in Sophia? These people have no respect for us as Guyanese. So you'd swear this is a political rally. I want them to tell us whose money was spent to have those flags hoisted along the streets in Georgetown. Whose money was spent? And more so, how can they go the House of Assembly meets to do this nonsense? They don't have respect for just about any person whatsoever. And here you have again the PPP showing us that they are free to do what they want because they are allowed to do it. And we must speak to the expected response. And I can't stop calling for us to do this, my brother. We have to have an expected response from Guyanese, starting with those who lead the country in the opposition. Yes, you do. You lead the country in the opposition. I want you to understand what we're doing here, Guyanese people. We have the administration and we have the leadership in the opposition. They both lead Guyana. How do you have at the place where the opposition members go to gather to discuss our laws, and to table laws and so on, and to frame laws, and to discuss policies concerning us? How do you have the PPP going there to hold their Congress and flying their flags where our parliamentarians meet, where the mace is placed to say that Parliament meets here? This is dishonorable, distasteful, and so when they got to this Congress was about disrespecting Guyanese. So they got to the teachers' part. Now let's continue disrespect. I would like to suggest, and you can chime in after this, that there should have been, for me, a massive protest outside there to stop them from going in. Once you fly these flags here, you're not going in this building. Until the flags come down, you shouldn't even be there in the first place. Because this is a disgrace to us in reference to the House of Assembly that now is situated at the Arthur Chung Center. What are your views on that?
Apostle, I totally agree with you. The PPPC is here imposing their will upon the Guyanese people, as you would say. Their flags are flying all over. They're showing it's all PPP or nothing. At this Congress, Apostle, let's recall that Barra Jagdeo was keen to say that they would never and they will never be shared governance in Guyana. So he has already established the position that it is going to be PPPC supremacy. And that is something, Apostle, that we have seen the PPPC working towards for some time now, to have that ethnic supremacy in Guyana. And what is happening at the Chung Convention Center just paints a picture that they have no regards to nothing. Like you would have said, Apostle, the mace is there. That's where our laws are made, right? They could have went out to like a Pegasus or a Marriott or one of these other hotels, to a hotel, and had their Congress there. Why would you choose this facility? But like you would have said, they have no respect for the opposition and for the people of Guyana in general. So this is going to continue until we take a stand. The people of Guyana need to step up and take a stand. But Apostle, I say this, in order for the people to step up and take a stand, there must be good leadership to lead the people to that stand.
That's
right?
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Now let me just give people the word in the street. The word out there is that while Irfan was making himself the typical person he is, they were counting the votes to the back. So that beat it Michael Jackson wannabe nonsense was not just for fun. While they were distracted by him, that's the word on the street, making a fool of himself as usual, they were dealing with the votes at the back. And what happened? Irfan came out number one, Jagdio number two. When would you ever in your lifetime believe that Irfan Ali could get more votes than Jagdio at any time in the PVP? When they all know who's the boss. And they didn't even think before they. Zulfikar Mustafa. Of all people, Zulfikar is number three. And then we have at number five, Gail Teixeira and Nigel Darmlal. We have to talk about this because this all happened in the same venue where teachers were disrespected. Nigel Darmlal was ranked number 6. 1,912, I think, people, they said, voted for Darmlal. Please, we have to speak to them. Because if they could put Darmlal, allow him to even go into that building again, is enough disrespect for women in this country, girls in this country, boys in this country, and anybody who has respect for themselves in this country. Look at who they have ahead of Anil Nandlal. Imagine that. And Anil is not my friend. Anil is not my favorite. And I couldn't care less about Anil. But the point is, their savior who rushes to the CCJ on their behalf and is their guru, Darmlal, is ahead of you. Listen, knowing Nandlal, that would not go down. I promise you that. Knowing who Anil is, that would not go down nicely. Never. And Frank Anthony might as well walk out from around y'all. And these aren't my friends I'm talking about. We have, imagine, Donald Ramotar is way below a former president, is way below Darmlal in the PP now, and Kwame McCoy. Take it away. Take it from here, because this was a mockery of a Congress. So the dancing alley, I heard. I wasn't there, but I heard that they were counting the votes at the back and trying to trash out the war. So this may go to CCJ. This is headed for the CCJ.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Apostle, I must say, this is the first time I've ever seen the puppet finish ahead of the puppet master, with Ali finishing in front of Jagdio. For Frank Anthony, there's a few questions he needs to ask himself. But I'm going to pivot and say this, Apostle, that maybe these guys did not fully agree with the narrative of where the PPPC was going, and they're paying the price.
That's good.
Paying the price. Anil know Mr. Nandlal was paying a lot of attention to Exxon and its businesses and representing Exxon. Maybe that would have come back to haunt him. But Apostle, I doubt it. I think it's more of him not aligning with Jagdio's narrative and being a possible challenger to Jagdio that would have brought his demise, that he was almost outside of the top 10. It's hard for me to believe that. And now on the issue of Nigel Darmlal, we know that the PPPC doesn't lack in anywhere when it comes to lawlessness. So with Nigel Darmlal finishing 6th, it doesn't surprise me one bit. And he's going to be a major player when it comes to decision making in that party, because he's going to hold, a high position in the party. He finished 6th in the voting.
Imagine that.
And that just comes to show you the level of respect this party has for the Guyanese people. This guy should have not even been present at that Congress.
In jail.
Correct. But what? They resuscitate him and they brought him back. That's the thing. That's what the PPPC does do. They keep recycling the same old leaders or the same old people who would have held office before. And if that continues to happen, Apostle, Guyana goes nowhere. It's the same people all the time.
Yeah, and if you look at it, the reason why I say she should have been in jail is because the young lady, Anasi Fredericks, according to what was presented to us and by the DPP, made through her parents or made a request for there to be no further action taken. And according to law, if you issue a no further action statement, there had to be an action statement made in the first place. So she had to make a request for there to be action taken, and thereafter then they say that she said she doesn't want any more action. So upon the request for action to be taken, and upon the fact that she was interviewed in a forensic interview by Blossom Foundation and think somebody else, he was supposed to spend time in jail, at least being under arrest and being put before the court. So that's what I'm saying what I've said. And he, for the longest while, could not come out, even up until today, and say, I have never done anything people said about me. I've never want to say that. And in the light of that, he's now number 6 in the PvP. And I could tell you why. Because let's not forget that they don't have an issue with people being slapped. Remember the one who slapped the girl in Berbice? Rogers?
Right. Yes.
They said that he would have the activists stripped and beaten. Let's not forget what Vashi Jagyo reported she went through in the house. They never criticized him for that. Let's not forget when the girl made complaints against Damlal, we had to be forcing them to even make a statement, Priya and others, that they have concern for this child. Let's not forget that Charandas, who was their High Commissioner to India, told me that she wants the doctor to do to her, and Charandas. So it's obvious to me that these people are perfect when it comes to tolerating disrespectful women. So Dharmlal could fit perfectly in the fray because he has demonstrated to us through the report of the young lady and through his failure to stand and say, I have never, ever, ever done this, and I demand a commission of inquiry because I've been falsely accused. The girl said I've been set up, so let's have a commission. He never did that. So, my brother, as you said, we are going downhill in a very, very rapid rate, at a very, very rapid pace because of the lack of leadership. And I want us to speak to that, please. I'd be very happy if we can. We require a very strategic and powerful force in terms of leadership of these people because they've lost all restraint. With the flags being hoisted at where our parliament meets, flags are symbolic. When you defeat a country, you hoist a flag. When you take territory, you raise a flag. What do the flags tell us? Being the PvP flag surrounding the Guyana flag. Break that down for some of them, please. The PvP flags strewn across Georgetown, and where our parliamentarians meet, it is surrounding the flag of our country. When you take territory, you plant a flag. Please speak to that.
Apostle London, what Apostle Eliakim, I stand corrected.
Fine.
When I analyze this, the people of Guyana have to be very careful. We are heading down the road where we can see a one-party state. When you see flags, and like you would have said correctly and eloquently put, whenever territory is captured, a flag goes there to say that this is mine. So the Arthur Chung Convention Center has one Guyana flag and hundreds of PPPC flags.
Correct.
So the Arthur Chung Convention Center belongs to the PPPC. Hence, they could have just go ahead without permission, because I feel if you want to hold your Congress at that landmark, seeing that it's there where they gather to make laws and Parliament meets there, I think it would have been the right thing to consult with the opposition to make sure that it is okay with them. But the PPPC has no regards for anyone or anything. Apostle, you see, when it comes to the distribution of land around Guyana, you see what is happening. Okay, external forces is coming in and capture everything. So, and distribution of wealth also, they both line up right there. External forces and nepotism at its best. The PPPC and their insiders, they're capturing everything, building out buildings, doing everything. So when the flag of the PPPC is flying all over the place, it doesn't surprise me one bit. But Apostle, what I want to see is an awakening must come to the Guyanese people, and it needs to come quickly.
It has to, because if it doesn't, then we'll be in trouble. Because if we don't teach our people to have value for an insight into things, understand symbolisms, understand why people do things, then you have trouble. You see, Brooklyn is a perfect example where there's a great. I mean, Mr. Benchop is in the middle of the battlefield here. You are, and you're dealing with the matter, which we can speak to here, because I think people need, even on this platform, to hear clearly my position on this matter. I believe, according to United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, you are entitled to speaking how you feel and speaking it at any forum. That's a human right you have. So we have a case in which Ali went to Brooklyn. Ali shows up in Brooklyn and decides, in some instances, he's going to go into people's place of business and invite himself to some degree. Shake roti and whatever, and look at the condition of the
Because we're excited to see you here. You're coming. Hold on. You got the roti? You got to be kidding me. You got the roti, don't worry. Oh, Lord. You used to make roti when he was 5. But let me see if you can clap. You got shake now. You got shake. Shake it in. This is clap. All right.
This is the modern way.
Okay. Look, sweetheart, this is it. All right. Let's see how you shake it. Farmer Steve roti, the best roti in Brooklyn. Hey, not so. This is the way.
I am shake roti like that.
All right, this is the way. Shake it like that. Shake it. Watch. Shake it. Wow.
That's how it's way. Push.
All right, so you gotta eat them because you let me see how if the quality improves.
US. This is in US where we have so many health standards and all the rest of it. In Brooklyn, look what happened here. And then in the Hills, he was another location where someone sought to speak on behalf of we. And I always say this to people, when I hear we in reference to the PPP, and we respect you, Mr. President, or we respect you, Mr. Vice President, who we are talking about? Because if there's an outcry here about how Guyanese are being treated, not just Africans alone. The PPP, as a rule, you have to either be an Indian who supports them, you have to be an African who cuss Benchop, cuss London as they call me, cuss Norton. You have to cuss everybody who speaks against the PPP. Then you have a chance to go in with it. You have to also be one who is a friend or a family member of theirs. So if you are not of a particular strata in society as well, you don't exist in their book. So for him to show up there to try to show that he likes African people and the rest of it, he's this down-to-earth person. It bothers me when people say certain things to Irfan Ali that we would expect you, quote, to seek to lead us and we support you. Who? So when there was an outcry or response, I should say, then listen, this guy just can't show up here and behave as if it's okay. It's not okay. And there was a call for the boycotting of certain businesses. People got upset with Mr. Benchop, Burke, and others. Say, y'all shouldn't do this. Maybe you shouldn't do this, and they carry on at y'all. My discussion tonight, and for us to speak to, is this: what is so wrong if Mr. Benchop and you use your platform to say, listen, if you are going to support Irfan Ali, we have an issue with you? What is so wrong with that? Given the fact that 20 of our children were burnt alive, burnt to death in Mahdia. Irfan Ali, being president, paid to be president, said we'll mourn for 3 days for 20 children. And on the 4th day, what do you have? Stink and dirty, botheration, big throwdown. The debris from the building, the concrete and the human, sorry, this may be gross, but the human remains may have been still mingled in that thing. They took it and put it to fill potholes in Mahdia. Look at who's standing there. I call her fire minister. Wherever there's a fire, prayer shows up. She's there standing and walking all over the evidence. And there was not even a word about a coroner's inquest, which is by law requested whenever somebody dies under suspicious circumstances or unknown circumstances. This woman, Ali and others, never once honored our children to that extent. They didn't grieve for a month. They didn't grieve for 2 weeks. And look at what we have here. Look at what we have here. And then in Brooklyn, they're saying, some of them saying, on the hills, we support you. Doing what to us? Who went to jail for the loss of those 20 children? Name one person who went to prison. One. So this is what bothers me. And I wasn't here for a while, but I'm here for us to speak to this. What is so wrong if, Mr. Ben Chapman, you say, you know what? For y'all supporting these people here, we don't want to support your business. What's the problem with that? And I'm hearing that there are those who are joining that call to say they understand the issue. It's not about you shouldn't talk against the people, or you should try your best not to pull down somebody's business. Who are they supporting? You can go ahead and let's talk about this. And tell me what's happening.
Yes. And Apostle, that was well put. That was very well put. You see, these business owners need to understand. Technically speaking, they have a right to bring whomever they want, right? They can do that. But before they do that, they need to do analysis. They need to do their groundwork. They need to understand who it is that they are bringing or they're inviting in. Okay? No. It wasn't announced. It wasn't something that was public knowledge. It was never announced. So, in order, I'll put this in this order, they would have sneaked Irfan Ali into Brooklyn. Right? And from the time you do that, knowing who Irfan Ali is, knowing what he represents oppression. Okay, that's what he does to the Guyanese people. He is a man who doesn't even have credentials to show as to why he should be president of Guyana. He was merely installed. It is the same Irfan Ali who said he has the best interest of women and children. We have not seen that.
Yeah.
It is the same Irfan Ali who failed to protect Sergeant Dian Bascom in the paper short saga. We're talking about the same guy all the time. It's the same guy who sits as president and they refuses to make a deal and give our teachers proper wages.
Correct.
So when you're going to invite him to the hills and you are going to use the words, we respect you, my question here is, who do you speak for?
Correct.
You don't have the right to speak for the Guyanese people because apparently she doesn't understand the plight of the Guyanese people. So this woman right here on screen, she needs to get with it. Okay? She needs to mitigate the possible damage that this can cause to our business. And I don't know. It's totally up to the people at this point, Apostle. if they are going to accept an apology from her. But thus far, she seems to want to play hardball.
Okay.
We are not forcing the people and say, oh, do not buy, do not support this business. We are recommending based on what is happening to the brothers and sisters on the ground in Guyana. When you want to negotiate and you want to have a discourse, go to the puppet master. Don't try to have a discourse with a puppet. Apostle, with all due respect, Irfan Ali is powerless.
Yes.
Jack Dio is the one with the power. So you just put your business in a compromising position, inviting a powerless man who the people look at as a dictator, you know, to enter your premises.
But if there was no announcement made, I didn't even know he was traveling, and Guyanese didn't know where he was going and so on. So if there's no announcement made, and he just shows up there and he's taking people's places of business and so on, they by right, the Africans, and even this entire decade, not 2 years, the entire decade was devoted by the United Nations to the well-being of the African descendants. This is the decade, not 2 years, 10 years devoted to us. And he shows up among African descendants. After here, they sought to defund Ipadaji. They sought to, and they still do, they cannot name 5 people in this country who in terms of African descendants, who are the top of the tier in reference to natural oil and gas industry. Look at what they did in Arcadia. And someone said that this woman was just rolling up on the ground for no reason. Guyana has lost its senses to a great extent. Look at what Irfan Ali said, that he allowed this to happen because he didn't want to appear weak. Look at what is happening in our country. And for anyone in Brooklyn to say to me that they're prepared to host Irfan Ali and not tell him about himself, I have an issue with that. Because if you are an African descendant, as you say you are, then you must speak to the right of your people and the plight of your people. So if he shows up anywhere, you say to him, okay, since you're here, I want to address you for what's happening to my people in Guyana. Talk about Mokarkida. Talk about the Mills War whereby in the rain, they were seeking to knock a woman's house down, a people's houses down. And the woman was inside. They could have killed that lady. They didn't care about that. Talk about the fact that we've got so many contracts being issued in our country. And they said to me, a contract as well, that black people would never have the ability in this country to bid and win for $2 or $3 or $1 billion worth of contract. You get the small stuff, not the big stuff. That's how bad we've gotten in this country. So if in Brooklyn they can't talk to him about that, we have an issue here. And I have an issue with you right here in Guyana. Because it's time for us to stand up and speak up for what behoves our people. The United Nations gave us a platform. Irfan Ali went to the UN when he couldn't say the word reparative and reparative nonsense. He couldn't even say it because he doesn't use it. And now he has a chance to come home and prove to us that this would be right. He said he didn't want to appear weak in Mokarkade, so let the houses go down since they didn't want to appear weak. So I am in full support of anyone who says that if you want to support my enemy, I'm not your friend. I'm also in full support of anybody who says, well, okay, don't support Ben Shop either because they have a right to do it either way. But I have record to show that the PB doesn't put ads on 107.1 FM, never did. Is that not boycotting? When Jagdir said that they shouldn't buy newspapers from anybody who speaks ill against the PP and wants to tear the party down, is that not boycotting? When Jagdir stopped putting ads of PP on Starbuck News for 13 months or more, was that not boycotting? And he confessed and said it was the wrong thing to do. Maybe in hindsight, it wasn't a good thing to do. Was that not boycotting? So what are we really doing here as a people? How does Jagdir have the right to boycott, but you can't have that to say you should have one?
Take responsibility. We want you to look out for us. We do not want no segregation. No. We are one people. And if we're going to do it, let's do it together. Because we have respect for you. Thank you.
All right, President. All right, I agree with you, and I would have it no other way. No other way. There is only one way forward, and that is united. That is for us to band together, for us to understand the challenges together, and for us to overcome those challenges.
Don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. So we're here to work together as one.
Thank you.
Let's
do it orderly.
We have to have youth of the hills, restaurant, and
We're glad to have you at the hills. And let's do it together. So where's the togetherness in Guyana when we have got, out of every 100 trucks, 98 are owned by at least those of Indian descent? How do we have this oneness in Guyana when our children are sitting in the roasting heat, and your finale son sits in air-conditioned classroom in a private school, and others? Where's this oneness we talking about? How you have oneness here when Jagdeo has joined with Exxon to fight us against the Kissoon rule, Justice Kissoon, that we should be protected in an unlimited manner if there's an oil spill? We don't have the means to protect ourselves financially. Jagdeo has joined Exxon to challenge his own people. And we talk about oneness, and they want Ali to do what? Where is the oneness when we have two justices? Roxanne George acting, and the other chancellor of the judiciary.
Yonet Cummins Edwards.
And none of the two of them is appointed. And Ali said we have a problem. We don't have an issue here. Speak to that for me, please, my brother. Speak to this oneness she's talking about.
First, she speak of responsibility. We have a 48% dropout rate, school dropout rate in Guyana. And that is an aggregate, including private schools. Apostle, what if we remove private schools from that sample? It would more look like 70%. So when it comes to responsibility, the PPPC has not taken any responsibility when it comes to the Guyanese people. Look at the service the people receive from GPL and GWI. Look at our hospitals. Okay, we're talking about government-provided services here. Our nurses, they are underpaid also. And while I'm at that, Patrick Yard, you need to join the protest with the teachers. You need to bring out your union and join the protest with the teachers. Or, sir, I respectfully ask you to step away, because you have done absolutely nothing that I could see. You've done nothing. Back to the PPPC, responsibility, accountability. Apostle, we have not seen that. When you talk about banding together starts with our motto: one people, one nation, one destiny, being respected. Not no one Guyana. I don't know anything about one Guyana, and I'm sure you don't either, Apostle.
No.
We don't know anything about that. And to be honest, the PPPC has had their opportunity. Guyana needs to pivot and go in a different direction. But as you would have said, Apostle, the country needs proper leadership. We need to see governance, proper governance, and governance for all across the board. We have 6 ethnic groups in Guyana. They all need to be respected, and they all need to show respect for each other. That is what we ultimately want to see. But when you have a government that is sitting in place, and I deem them to be a group of gangsters, you cannot have that.
No.
Right? There's no negotiating with gangsters.
No,
the
you
only
can't.
way they will take you is down. Go ahead, Apostle.
Correct. And that's the truth. We're about to wind, and actually time flies, they say, when you're having fun. But tonight time would have flown because we have some very, very critical matters to address. And as we bring this session to a close again, I must say that it's an honor to sit here in the stead of Mr. Bench Chop, sit here with you, Mr. Caesar. I'm thankful that I was even asked to play this role in his stead. And we look forward to seeing him again, actually dealing with these matters as he would so aptly do. And so in your thoughts and closing, it is critical for us to refocus, reinforce, and recapitulate to some extent that which has us in this mood of being very, very uneasy and upset, to know that they've gone to the extent of disrespecting teachers in the midst of a continuing matter. It's not a case about the court cases are over and they're done, because they're appealing. And in the midst of litigation, they've taken to the stage at Arthur Chung Convention Center, that in itself another degree of desecration, dishonor, to disrespect our teachers. I applaud the GTU for saying that they are going back out from Thursday. So teachers across Guyana, the call is that from the 9th of May, you stop working for a prolonged period, quote unquote. It's important to pay attention to what the union is doing, because the GTU may be the last straw in reference to that which stands against this band of criminals. They've refused to bow and to bend. I do join your call in requesting the Patrick Yard, the GPSU. You've issued warnings to the PP before. They failed to come to the table with you. And this should be a much larger strike, because it's disrespectful for them to say that they didn't have an issue with nurses when nurses began to leave. No, we have a problem. It's fine. We have it covered. And then in your faces, they bring Bangladeshis with far more privileges. They can have houses that'll be paid for them. Their pay is better than yours. They have conditions that are better than yours. If they are family members, they automatically accepted in this country and stuff like that. And so we have a right to join as Guyanese to fight against the system. I'll take your closing thoughts and then I'll come with mine to remind people that Guyana has up to go, but it cannot go up if we stay down below people who want to stand on our necks. We have to fight against this system, and we must win at all costs. Go ahead, my brother, and thank you for sharing the platform with me as well.
Yes. Apostle Eli Akim, it was a pleasure sharing this platform with you tonight. I was looking forward to us collaborating on a show for some time now, so I'm happy that we did tonight. There is more that we can discuss, but I do have a show on Saturday, and I will invite you to come on.
Thank you.
For the people of Guyana, we have to be resolute. We have to understand our priorities. Not every time we have a big show, or these big shows, whether it's in Linden, whether it's at the stadium, we're just out there and we're rocking and rolling. We have to remember the battle that we're in. I'm not saying that sometimes you cannot take some time to have a bit of fun, but again, just like the people of Brooklyn would have taken a position, I call on the people in Guyana to take a position also. You're being oppressed. And to the extent you're being oppressed, you need to manage your money and be very careful as to where you spend your money. That is your right as to where you spend your money. Nobody cannot tell you. Myself or anybody cannot tell you where to spend your money. So be conscious of where you spend your money. You want to make sure that you're not supporting the same people that is oppressing you, your brothers, and your sisters. My second thought here as I close tonight. Apostle, we are all doing a lot of work. There's a lot of, social media influencers, political commentators across the board. We are all doing a lot of work to see the back of this installed regime. We believe in free and fair elections. In order for us to have free and fair elections, our elections apparatus has to be working effectively, and it has to be uncorrupt. As I leave tonight, I call on the opposition and all stakeholders to rally and get GCOM to produce a new voters list. Whether we're going to have biometrics, we need to start seeing these processes getting into place. We don't see it yet. We're just outside a year for elections. We need to see these things in place. Again, Apostle, thank you for having me. And to our CEO and owner, Mr. Benchcap, thank you also for having me. And I want to thank all our listeners and viewers. You guys are true patriots. Continue to hold your head high as we take back our country.
Thank you, thank you, thank you again. And I dare say that I echo your sentiments, and we must be a very strong people. We must be a resolute people. It is critical for Guyanese to understand that, for example, you had Town Week, I think 10 days of frolicking and fun here in Linden. And I saw venues that were packed. Thousands of people came from all across Guyana and even overseas to have fun. However, from the 9th of May, it's time for us to be serious about the way forward. I would be happy to see 25% of you out here supporting this cause, supporting nurses, teachers, various regional workers, and so on, because the time has come for us to have slippers, boots, and rubber, because this is enough. The disrespect, the disregard, and the disdain that they've been showing to us as a people, we cannot have that. We must stand, and we must stand with absolute strength against that which seeks to crush us. So again, I say, thank you so much for having this time spent with me, Mr. Caesar. Thank you, Mr. Benchchop. If you're viewing, thank you so much for sharing this evening with us, or allowing us to share this platform. And we look forward to the struggle continuing. Guyanese, you must stand. And having done everything else, you stand. Because the disrespect for you from these people who call leaders has to stop at some point. And we have to stop it. We have to put our feet down and stop this nonsense now. Look at what they've done. Look at how biased they've operated. How biased they've operated. Look at what they're doing to our teachers. Look at what they're doing to our nurses and other people. Even our police officers, look at what they're making them to be. Puppets and pawns. We're not going to step back and have that any longer. So with that said, I bid you good night, or I would say shalom to those who are saints. Do well until we meet again.
Good night, everyone.
Small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. Neighbor and some little children. I'm ready singing and the dancers really admire them. Small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. Neighbor and some little children. I'm ready singing and the dancers really admire them. Yes, they're singing. Ching, ching, ching. I'm in a bar. See for mama. The 10 fat chicken. And I she for one. And she won't give me one. You see that girl named Dorothy. She fat like a butter. And she mama like a chow. Oh, small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. Neighbor and some little children. I'm gonna sing and dance, that's really admire them. What they're singing? On your carpet, you must be like the roses. On your knee, bright and shining, you must be. And show me the one, love the best. When I marry, I give you the ring. First the girls, second the boys. Sunday, Monday, afternoon, we will spend our honeymoon. Oh, small days is still on my mind. Small days is a good time. Neighbor and some little children. I'm gonna sing and shoot, shoot, Mr. Lady, shoot, shoot, shoot. And now wipes the lady